Welcome back to Sew, Grow and Cook on a really cold December morning. I'm kind of procrastinating. Poor Bob is outside stacking firewood. It's something I started helping him do yesterday, but then it started to rain and we had to quit and cover everything up with the tarpaulin. But we've got to continue today because the sun is shining and we need to do it. I'll take you on a little tour of the small holding as well and show you some new additions we've got. Very exciting. And we may even do a little bit of seasonal cooking with some winter squash. But I'm going to do that in our log burner. We've got a little oven. So come along with me and let's see what's going on the farm. Hello, Bob. I've come to help. We're trying to make use of the space in the barn between the hay stacks and the wall of the barn. It's an open barn, so it gets plenty of circulation, air circulation, which is good, which helps keep things dry, provided the rain doesn't blow in, which it only does a little bit into the entrance. So Bob is very expertly stacking firewood and I'm going to help load it in the wheelbarrow. So we've got quite a few stacks of firewood tucked away in the barn. But this is providing certainly 50%, if not more, of our heating in the house. We have got oil central heating. We wanted to get something a little bit more environmentally friendly, but it was very, very expensive to get ground source or air source heating. And with it being an old house, it was quite complicated also to get it sorted out. So we opted for getting a new central heating boiler, which is a lot more efficient. And we use it only an hour or two a day at the height of winter. So we're not using that much oil at all. And most of the heating in the winter is from locally sourced firewood. There's a lot of woodland around here and a lot of people who sell firewood. So from about November onwards, or whenever the weather starts getting really chilly here in Wales, I've gotten to the habit now of lighting this stove in our dining room in the morning. And when it gets nice and hot, I'm able to cook in it. It's got an oven, a pretty generous size oven actually, and it cooks a little bit more slowly than the electric oven we've got, but it does a beautiful job just the same. I've roasted potatoes, I've done stews and casseroles, I have baked things. I've baked bread. I've made pizza in there. Lots and lots of things. And on the top, it's hot. And I'm just going to put a kettle on here to warm up some water. But this gets hot enough to put a frying pan on and cook. Well, you can cook eggs on there, you can cook bacon, you can simmer soups and stews. I've made casseroles on here. it's taken a couple of hours, but if you're heating the house anyway, it seems silly not to use it. And it's nice to do things more slowly sometimes. Life is such a rush at times. Why not slow down, do a bit of slow cooking, and enjoy the heat? It's nice to just sit in front of the fire and read a book too.
Everything's looking a little bit windswept after Storm Arwen and Storm Bara, sort of 10 days apart. The veg are still standing, but a lot of them have been blown a bit sideways, like this Cavolo Nero. It's been blown over. But we're very lucky. We didn't have as much damage as they did up in Scotland or the northeast of England, where they were out of power for over a week. We lost power for about 15 hours during Storm Arwen. Anyway, Tom the goat's fine. His and Tidder's shed have stayed up, which is good. Let's see what's inside the polytunnel. Actually, the polytunnel veg are not looking too bad. You've got the salads there, the winter salads. Just there. I'm still picking those. They are tasty. The spinach. The elephant garlic is coming up. They're much slower to start coming up from planting. There we go, self-seeded calendula again. Than the ordinary garlic. These came up fairly quickly. They were planted on the same day, but these are further ahead. I think that's just a feature of elephant garlic. They do take longer. We've got some onions growing there. And some mixed oriental salad greens coming up slowly, but they're still coming up. And a bit more garlic that I planted later, and they're just beginning to come up. And a few onions popping up through the soil. Now, here's the purple sprouting broccoli that was beginning to get chomped on by the cabbage butterflies. Well, the caterpillars, that is. But they have recovered because the cold has killed the caterpillars, and I was picking the caterpillars off as well. You can see some of the damage from the past, but there are no more caterpillars on there. And these plants are quite sturdy. I think they'll be okay. The Brussels sprouts, not as good this year as they were last year. They took a bit of a hammering with the cabbage white butterfly caterpillars, but I have some nice Brussels sprouts there. Certainly enough for Christmas dinner, for sure. I've chopped down the tops of the asparagus, so they're sleeping now. I've just got to finish putting some soil conditioning mulch on top. Florence fennel is doing okay. I've got a few bulbs fattening up here. They're not going to be massive, but that's okay. The last of the spinach And again, some more salad greens there. The winter lettuce is doing okay. The chickens and ducks are all undercover currently due to the avian flu. Flock down, as it's affectionately called here in the UK. Hello, ladies. I think they're expecting a snack. These are our Zwartbles sheep, Jos, Janie and Gabby. Zwartbles originate in Holland, and I think Zwart means black and bles means blaze, so they've got a white stripe down their face. And they have lovely wool as well, which is meant to be very, very good crafting wool. Oh, someone's having a wee. That's what they think. That's what they think of my video. Thank you very much, girls. They're quite hardy. They've got lovely, lovely thick coats. Nonetheless, they've got a shelter there that they can dive into out of the rain and the cold. We put some straw and hay in there. Come on, girls! Gabby! Jane! Come on, Joss! Come on, lovelies, come on! They're fairly friendly for sheep. They were raised by another smallholder who doesn't live too far from here. They'd been in contact with children and people handling them very nicely. So they're not too shy and they're not wild. We're looking forward to keeping them on our small holding. And next year, when the daughters here are older, they're only 8 months old now, we'll put them all in lamb. We'll get a tup or a ram to come and visit, and hopefully they'll all get into lamb. And then the following year, we'll have lots of Zwartbles lambs, or Zwarbles, as they're called over here in West Wales. Okay, so today I'm going to cook a lovely standalone vegetarian meal. It's a one-pan recipe that you can roast in the oven, and it's kind of an alternative to just potato roasties. And with the addition of some chickpeas, it's going to be a really nutritious standalone vegetarian meal. You can also serve it as a side dish with your Christmas dinner, with your turkey or whatever else you're having. Or any vegetarians coming to visit you for Christmas dinner can eat this and be quite happy. It's delicious. We often have it as a meal just on its own. I'm going to make it today and do just a little bit of salad from some of the winter salad greens from the polytunnel. So I'm going to magically prep these and come back to you when they're ready to combine and put in the oven. So stay tuned. Okay, I've prepped all the veg now, so we're ready to start combining. Okay, I've used half of this squash and I've peeled it and I've chopped it into cubes. I'm going to put that in a big bowl. I've used 2 medium-sized potatoes and made them sort of similar size to the squash. Into the bowl they go. And I've chopped up 2 medium onions into large chunks. Again, similar to the size of the potato and the squash. Into the bowl. I've used about 4 garlic cloves minced up in my garlic crusher. Into the bowl. Now I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of my chili garlic oil. That's optional. You can just use regular olive oil and add other seasonings later, but I've got this, so I'm going to use it. Just a little drizzle. and a little bit of my thyme oil. So it's thyme infused oil, again from the garden. Just a little drizzle in there. And I'm going to stir that all up. And pour that into my roasting tray. Now, I still have some fresh herbs from the garden, so I've got some fresh rosemary and I've got some fresh thyme. Now, I'm just going to pluck off a few of the rosemary leaves, add them in there. Very aromatic, very delicious. Put as much or as little as you like. Or if you don't like rosemary, don't put any at all. Same goes with thyme. You can add other herbs if you prefer, basil, marjoram, any herbs, whatever you like. This is what I've got quite a lot of though, so that's what I'm using. And I'm going to season with a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. And some salt. Right. And just kind of mix that around. Now this is going to go into my wood burning stove oven, which is I think it just says hot on it. It doesn't actually give you actual temperatures. But if you were using a gas or an electric oven, I would aim for 375 degrees Fahrenheit or around 190 to 200 centigrade. So a kind of medium hot oven, right? And in your conventional ovens, you need to kind of keep track of it. Probably after 15 minutes, give it a stir. And in my wood burning stove, I'm going to be checking it every 20 minutes or so because it's a little bit slower. But I'll show you as I put this in the oven just what the oven looks like.
I need to extract the cat away from the stove. Come along. I know it's nice and warm there. Into the oven it goes. Probably need to put another log in there to get things nice and hot. And I'll see you when it's all cooked.
So 40 minutes later, and they look lovely and browned around the edge, piping hot, and it smells gorgeous with all those herbs. So the next thing we need to do now is drain the jar of chickpeas and add them to the mix. Now it's time to add the balsamic vinegar to add a little bit of sweetness and acidity, and a little drizzle of olive oil on top. Give it a good stir, and it's just about ready to plate up now. Oh, don't forget to adjust the seasonings. Give it a little taste. Add additional salt, pepper, chili flakes, anything you want to use. Right, let's give this a good taste here. You've got the sweetness of the roasted squash and the roasted onions, and the earthiness of the chickpeas and the roasted potatoes, plus those herbs, very aromatic herbs. So nice flavors, nice textures, earthiness, sweetness, herbiness, and that little sharp kick from the balsamic vinegar and the salt and pepper. It's a really delicious, simple meal. I hope you'll give it a try.